Hey 12, it's the Seahawks Squad, sponsored by Gametime. Everything Seattle Seahawks every week, breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the Emerald City, the way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Get loud, 12s. The Seahawks Squad Show starts now.
What up, 12s? Welcome to the Seahawks Squad Show. Anderson Hirst, Corbin Smith, and Turbo with me, Robert Turbin, of course, the former Seahawks running back, Super Bowl 48 champion. Here to break down a pretty impactful day regarding the Seattle Seahawks with their roster construction. They trimmed from 90 to 53. The full entire roster is officially out from the Seattle Seahawks. We're going to go through each position group, kind of give our surprises, our takes on who got left out, who makes the cut, who can we sneak through waivers to come back to the practice squad, all that jazz with the cut down day today with the Seahawks after their Week 3 preseason game against the Packers over the weekend. But before we get started, I want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is around the corner. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now. It is Futures Thursday or Futures Day for FanDuel, August 26th. So head into the FanDuel app. You'll get lots of good deals with their promotion there. But before we kind of do the full roster breakdown, I just want to kind of general thoughts from both of you guys regarding what happened today. Was there anything that really stood out to you that you want to get to right away? Or maybe just a general overlook on the roster and how this team is looking compared to years past? Corbin Smith, I'll start with you.
Well, where's the beef? That'll be the first thing. No nose tackles making the initial roster. That'd be the first thing that jumps out to me. I thought at least one of Quentin Bohanna or Brandon Peely would be on this roster, but Seattle ended up cutting both of them. So we'll see what that means for what their plans are there. And this is kind of an old school roster. 2 fullbacks on the same roster, at least the way that they listed it. 5 tight ends if you want to look at Brady Russell that way. Either way, this is not Ryan Grubb's offense. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, I think that's pretty safe to say at this point with, I think, only 5 receivers as well, which is completely different than what we've been used to. Turbo, anything stand out to you regarding, in general, thoughts about the final 53-man roster? I shouldn't say final, the initial 53-man roster for the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that came to mind for me initially was just, this day is just a tough day for everybody. It really is. I mean, obviously for a player, I remember in 2016, it was actually my first year at the Colts. And we had, how every team will do the Seahawks will do like a mock game, at Lumen. And so every team does something like that. We did one at the Colts, and it was under the lights. It was like a night game, but it wasn't at Lucas Oil Stadium. It was just where we were practicing. But it was one of those. I mean, anytime you're like under the lights, and it's one of those practices that it gets evaluated, like just like extra attention, And I'll never forget, man. We're inside the 5-yard line. We're running an inside zone, and I get the ball. And Adams, who was our safety, comes around on a safety blitz front side, and he just punches the ball out. And I end up fumbling right there. Defense recovers. And after practice, man, I spent like maybe, I don't know, an hour and a half just doing like ball handling drills. Yeah. But in my mind, I was for sure like I'm getting cut. This is, and because cut day was approaching. Because usually you'll have this kind of practice toward the end of training camp, right around. And I thought to myself, man, so just the anxiety as a player, I tell that story just, today was a lot of anxiety going on, with a lot of players. And then too, though, the from a front office standpoint, it's not, you think that this is just for some guys it is. Yeah. But John is he's a really relational, type of person. Like he likes to, he's the type of guy go get a beer with, honestly. And so I'm sure it makes it harder. Like Ryan Grigson was the general manager 2016 at the Colts. He purposely was like, we don't talk to the players, we don't do anything, so that days like today become a little bit easier, So that was really the first thing that came to mind in terms of just, as a player, just going back. I remember getting cut by the Seahawks, some guys is because of injury, whatever. It's just a very it's a day full of anxiety for a lot of the guys. But I thought Marquez Valdez-Scantling was going to make this roster. He didn't have a great training camp. You didn't hear his name in a lot of the preseason games. So you got to ball out, man. But at least he'll go home with a chunk of change, which is the reason why I thought he was going to, by default be on the team.
Yeah.
But you said it, Anders. Five wideouts, 2 fullbacks, bunch of tight ends. They are really being intentional about being a physical team, I think, this season.
Yeah, I think they actually did do 6 because I got Bobo, Horton, Cooper Kupp, JS
Cody
Smith,
White was the last one that got in.
So that was a misspeak by me. We'll get to that when we do the full breakdown here. But I do want to follow up with you, Turbo. You made me think of something about, like, you've been around many NFL locker rooms. What percentage do you think of the guys that end up getting cut expected? How many of them are completely taking off guard in this situation? Because I got to believe most guys kind of know the ins and outs, either whether it's talking to the general manager and having those conversations, or whether it's just, I'm kind of doing my own math in my head, figuring out I don't really fit into this roster. From what you can tell, what percentage of guys do you think are taken off guard when they are kind of taken off the roster?
I think it's less than 50%.
Okay.
I really do. I don't think it's a large number at all, especially like during the time that I was playing, and the cuts would happen through training camp.
Right,
it wasn't like
it's
this
like
big,
level.
And so when you got to the last preseason game, you're like, hey, I got a chance. You felt pretty good. Especially if he had a touchdown or something like that. Like, think about like a guy like Frank Gore Jr. for the Bills, the only player to have 100 yards on the ground and receiving in the preseason out of all the running backs in the NFL. And you think he was shocked. I'm sure he was shocked.
Yeah.
That he got cut today. I'm sure. And I'm shocked.
Yeah.
And so I think I think not a lot of guys expect it. I think that if they feel like they performed well, they had good camp, they performed well in the preseason, they're going to make the team. The only guys that truly like expect it are the ones that are sort of, they've got good communication and they've got an agent that's being like really forward with them. Like, hey, this is what's going to happen. Likely you're going to get cut.
Yeah.
But they're going to bring you back on the practice squad, that, and so you can prepare yourself ahead of time. But for the most part, man, if you feel like you put in the work, like I don't think Valdez-Scantling felt like he was going to get released.
Yeah,
I don't think he felt that way.
Yeah,
that's how it happens.
It's just how it goes sometimes. Corbin, how close was the final version of this initial 53-man roster? That's a word salad. But how close is this to what you would have predicted kind of heading into after the game on Saturday?
I think there were 3 different spots that were a little different than what I had for my last 53. If you're looking at the players that are currently on the roster, what I will say, and we can talk about this more as we go, like my initial 53 is always considering free agent signings and trades.
Yeah.
And so I thought Valdez-Scantling was going to get traded. I thought that they would find somebody that would give them a conditional pick for him because he's a guy that had 20 yards per catch last year. I thought, certainly there's a lot of teams needing receiving help, but it is hard to move vets this time of year. Teams know that you're going to cut them, so most of the time that's what's going to happen. But I thought they were going to move him. I still have Dalton Reisner and Jadeveon Clowney on this roster. So, and especially with Christian Haynes now being on injured reserve, I still think the Dalton Reisner move could very well happen. Connor O'Toole, I don't know if he's ready to play regular season snaps in the NFL, but he was a guy they felt was going to be difficult to slip through waivers because of his athletic traits. I still think Jadeveon Clowney could be on this roster. So there were a few guys that I put on that prediction that aren't on this team right now, but I think there's still a chance that we're going to see John Schneider make some of those moves to bring in more formidable veteran reinforcements for week 1 and beyond.
Yeah, I'd love to see that as well. Charlie the Unicorn says MVS the 49ers. Is that correct? I haven't double checked my NFL news for the day. I've been a little out and about.
No, I think that's more of a I think that'd be a
speculation.
Good
oh, okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good chance that's where he ends up, to be honest.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't be surprised. That's why I almost took it as that's what's happening. So, yeah, I mean, there's just so many of these moves. And then, of course, why don't we do this segment now? While there's players that have been cut, is there anyone you guys are eyeing? Turbo, we'll start with you. Anyone that you've seen that another team has, passed on in terms of the roster that you might want to be interested in terms of Seattle bringing them in?
Oh man, that's a loaded question, because there's some guys, to me, defensively, I think Seattle could add to a defense that's already going to be strong. I will admit, though, there's no standouts.
Yeah.
There's no real standouts to me where I'm like, man, we definitely got to go get this guy. To me, it's like, man, we need to find a way to trade for Michael Parsons still.
Yeah. Yes.
Outside of that, nobody really stands out to me. What about you, Corb?
Yeah, well, I look at it from this lens. I try to look at the couple positions that I think Seattle is weakest, and clearly they don't have any nose tackles on the roster right now. So I was looking on that front. There's some big bodies, but I mean, I don't think there's anybody that jumps out and like, well, that guy's better than Quentin Bohanna or Brandon Peely. So I'm curious about linebacker, and I believe it was the Packers that had Jamon Dumas Johnson, who's from Kentucky. They drafted him this year, and the Packers just cut him. But Seattle got a firsthand look at him at joint practices and in this preseason game. They already had De'Aaron Jackson, his teammate, on the roster. Johnson was the better player in college, though. I'm wondering if that might be a guy that John Schneider puts a waiver claim in for, because they had some interest in him in the draft as well. Okay. And they only have 3 linebackers on this roster right now.
Yeah.
What about the kid who struggles losing weight? Just plug up the middle right there.
Look, I listen. I love the film at Florida because that guy can actually move for 460.
We'll get him right.
He is, but they wouldn't let him practice because they were trying to get him to lose weight. They wouldn't let him practice because of it.
I know.
If I was another NFL team, I'd be like, no.
Well, I'd be like, I feel like we'll get him right here. Bring him to Seattle. We'll get him right. Come on.
That's the most Pete Carroll view. We can fix him. Let's go. No, yeah, it's one of those where it's like sometimes you only see the upside until they come into your place and you realize, oh, there's a reason this guy was cut from a roster, right? So, no, I think there definitely will. I would say nose tackle and linebacker are the 2 spots where I feel like it would be easiest to upgrade for what you have right now, just because, A, there's nothing in terms of nose tackle. So you can literally bring in someone who's been on an NFL, played in NFL games before and have more experience than what you have right now. And then, of course, linebacker, which it was a slight concern going into preseason. And you saw some, but I don't think it gave you any sort of confidence about the depth behind Tyrese Knight and Ernest Jones. So it's definitely something where, if another team has a lot of depth in that area, that you could easily upgrade Corbin Smith.
Yeah, and look, this is also, we're going to keep mentioning the Micah Parsons things because until he's got a new contract, you've got to talk about that possibility. Yeah. But I think if we're being realistic where some trades could happen, I imagine John Schneider, as we talk right now, he's probably on the phone with somebody seeing if there's a linebacker out there that he can trade for. And maybe he can swing a conditional pick, maybe the one he just got for Mike Jarrell. Maybe he can just flip it to get a linebacker. But he's probably getting ready to go to Dino's across the street, and he's probably got his phone out talking to some people trying to figure out who he can bring in that is going to be maybe better than what's out there even on the waiver wire. That is the position that I could see him trying to be active, trying to make a trade for somebody to bring in.
You know, the one player that stood out to me, actually, now that I think about it, and I saw it this morning, but he was a former first-round pick, 8th overall, and I forget what team drafted him, but he was just most recently with the Packers, Isaiah Simmons, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking, like, you know, I mean, you just never know, like, what's going on with the player, you know, like on or off the field. Like, man, how do you go from 8th overall to, you know, here we are now
2 years later? Yeah.
You know, you're cut, you know, bring him. We'll get him right. Bring him to Seattle. I'm on the train.
I guess my only issue with that, Turbo, is I think there's a lot of carryover with what they're going to be wanting Nick Emanwari to do with what Simmons' strengths are. But at the same time, like, what do you have to lose there bringing in a guy that's got that kind of athletic talent and that pedigree? He's going to be cheap. Like, why not consider bringing him in and seeing if you can get some snaps out of him on defense? So, yeah, I don't see an issue with that necessarily either. So Seattle's got some different ways they could go. But right now, I mean, they've got 3 linebackers literally on their roster. So they need to add there one way or the other.
Let's do what everyone's been waiting for. Let's break down the whole roster. We'll go position by position. You know, we may get longer segments in some places where there is more of a discussion. And some places there won't be. It's pretty cut and dry. We'll do that right on the other side of the break here on the Seahawks Squad Show. Don't go anywhere. This episode is presented by Yahoo Fantasy. The NFL season's right around the corner, and you can feel the buzz. Fantasy football season is here. Everyone's researching, drafting, and building their championship squads. If you haven't joined a league yet, now is the time. It's all happening on Yahoo Fantasy. This year, I'm playing fantasy football on Yahoo Fantasy, and you should too, whether you're a first-time or a veteran creating your millionth league. Yahoo Fantasy is loaded with fun ways to compete with brand new features that make the game even better. With the season kicking off on September 4th, it's really coming up. Now is the time to start playing Yahoo Fantasy Football, which offers so many fun ways to compete. If you want more ways to play, try the brand new Yahoo Fantasy Guillotine League. You want some just classic leagues with your friends, try the new Draft with Friends mode. If you like the classics, get your crew together and go head-to-head in a private league. And if you don't have friends or no crew to play fantasy football with you, no problem. Join a public league. It's the easiest way to play, and you can draft instantly. The NFL season kicks off on September 4th, so don't wait. Start your league now. Draft now at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. That's yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. All right, boys, let's take a look at the full roster here. We'll start on the offensive side of the ball. You know what? Should I share my screen so that anyone who's watching here on YouTube can look at what we're looking at, just so they can get a visual? I have the Seahawks tweet up here. I'll just go for originally while I'm figuring that out. Quarterbacks. Does anything stand out to you guys? You got Sam Darnold, Drew Lock, Jalen Milroe. I don't think there's any major surprises here, but if there's any sort of commentary you guys want to put with the conversation of the quarterback list, now would be the time. Corbin, we'll start with you.
Yeah, this is one of those positions we knew it was going to be chalk. There wasn't going to be any surprises. We know what the order is, pecking order-wise, 1, 2, 3. We know that Mike McDonald's already trying to fill opposing coordinators' heads with thoughts of having to game plan for packages for Jalen Milroe. So there's really no drama here. We knew what was going to be the situation at quarterback. There's not going to be one of their practice squad either because they have 3 of them on the roster. So this is just one of those. I don't think there's many positions that would qualify as this, but this is one of them that it really is chalk.
Okay. Turbo, anything stand out to you? Even if it doesn't not surprise who made the roster, but just anything to add regarding Jalen Milroe, or because we didn't talk to you post game after preseason game 3.
Yeah, I would just say that I'm actually surprised that Sam Darnold wasn't more challenged during this training camp, and I mean, really from the day he got signed. I mean, even though he had a really, really good year last year, and the Seahawks obviously signed him, I don't know. Initially I felt like, I mean, God, I don't know if this is a sure thing,
Right.
I mean, and I respectfully, like he beat the other guys out. Like, I mean, it was very, very clear from preseason game number 1 where he didn't even have to go out there. That he had separated himself, a pretty great deal. But which is a good thing. That's fine. But I would say that I was a little bit surprised by that. I'm hoping that he has a really good year.
Yeah. Quick follow up on that one before we move on to running back. Do you think there was a lot of people not complaining, but mentioning that there wasn't really an opportunity for someone to challenge him for QB1? Do you think that was the case, or was this pretty clearly just he was the best player?
I think pretty clearly he was the best player.
Okay.
I think it's pretty clear he was better than Drew, and I think it was pretty clear he was better than Jalen during this process.
All right, sweet. Let's go to running back. Seahawks end up we'll separate running backs and fullbacks because that's what they did on their own roster, which I love, by the way. So 3 official running backs: Zach Charbonnet, George Halani, and Kenneth Walker III. Anything stand out to you guys on this one? Obviously, the main one I would say is Damian Martinez getting waived. Just want to hear your guys' thoughts. We'll start with Turbo since he is the former running back for the Seahawks. Corbin, of course, you as well, right after Turbo. But Turbo, what do you think about the running back room at this point in time?
It looks good. Yes, it's exactly what it should be. Damian Martinez being released or waived, not shocking at all to me. I know that we had been very high on him. He had a lot of talent coming out of college, and I would agree with that as far as the talent is concerned. But I don't know. Being high on the guy, I probably deferred there a little bit. And so the 3 guys that made the team are the 3 best running backs. They've got the most versatility, especially Halani, especially George. Being able to be impactful in special teams in a number of different ways. That makes a huge difference. So not surprised.
Corbin, anything stand out to you running back wise?
Yeah, I had Damian Martinez, my last 5 in. I think he was player 51 on my very last 53-man roster projection. So I had him making this team, but I had him on the bubble. So I wasn't surprised. We'll just put it that way. I wasn't surprised that he was not on the team. I do think it is going to be difficult to get him back on this roster on the practice squad, though, because I just look at a couple teams today. Houston's got Joe Mixon out for at least the first 4 games. I will be shocked if Houston is not putting a waiver claim in for him. Yeah. There's a couple other running backs that maybe they'll look at instead. But Damian Martinez very much one they could look at. I think San Francisco, because even after trading for Brian Robinson, San Francisco is another team that I think could have a lot of interest in Damian Martinez. And by the way, their offensive coordinator is Clint Kubiak's brother. Kyle Shanahan's still calling the plays, but it's a very similar system. I could see San Francisco looking at him. There are other teams that have some injuries at that position. So it could end up being a case where Jacardier Wright is the one that they end up having on the practice squad, which you could make some arguments that Jacardier Wright as the 4th running back might actually be the better fit because he plays special teams and he's a more fluid pass catcher than what Damian Martinez is. So I think they've got a situation where they should be able to get one of those guys on the practice squad, but I'm going to be fascinated to see which one it ends up being because Martinez, without the special teams capabilities, that really is what hurt him, I think, when it came down to competing against some of the other position groups that got an extra player on this roster.
Let's go to fullbacks. Robbie Utes and Brady Russell. Surprised that Brady makes a roster, or is this just that relying on a fullback that you need 2 of them? Turbo, we'll start with you.
I was surprised, but I think that Brady, he must bring something very intricate to the offense. Perhaps it's that versatility to be able to play tight end also. Also, you got the special teams factor in there. He has a unique game. And so whenever you have versatility, like Damian Martinez, man, gosh, kind of sounds like a one-trick pony. You know, you get a guy like Brady Russell can do a few different things. You're like, man, I don't know, man. He got some decent hands. He could block.
He can long snap.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, hey, you know, you don't want to just give those guys up. We'll find something for you to do.
Right.
So from that standpoint, not really surprised. I'm just when I say that I'm surprised, it's like, man, you know, usually teams don't, I guess, like label having two fullbacks on the roster. And I think I'm more surprised at that.
Corbin, anything surprised you about Brady Russell making the roster? Obviously, we knew Robbie Utes was, but you know, two fullbacks, even carrying one was weird. Do you think two is overdoing it?
I think that this is just, it's just a formal declaration just to have a position for him. You could easily have put Brady Russell on the roster as an all-encompassing. Like I said,
I like that.
The guy can long snap. He could. I wouldn't be shocked if he could go do what Nick Ballore did and play linebacker. Probably wouldn't be great, but he probably could. I mean, Brady Russell's just one of those kind of guys. Like he does whatever you need him to do. And I can tell you this right now, Jay Harbaugh is actually kind of cool, calm, and collected. He's the polar opposite of his dad, but he would probably become his dad if they released Brady Russell. Like that is his favorite special teams player on this team. And I had him making the roster. I just had him listed as a tight end. When we talk tight ends, I'll explain some stuff there because there were some interesting wrinkles added at that particular position. But I wasn't surprised that, the two fullback thing might catch some people off guard. But Kubiak actually has a past of doing this before. New Orleans had two fullbacks on their roster. He just loves to move guys back there. And Brady Russell, again, he is truly that guy that I think if you changed his position on Madden, his rating probably just stays about because he can play everywhere. Yeah. That's just the way he does things.
Position, football player.
That is funny.
All right. I actually think I found a way to do this. So let me do this. See. Okay, perfect. So we can for those who are viewing on YouTube live today, you can see and kind of go along with us here. Let's move on to wide receivers. We got Jake Bobo, Torrey Horton, Cooper Kupp, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Cody White, and Derek Young. So they end up going 6. Obviously, no Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Anything stand out to you? I'll start with you, Corbin, this time. Obviously MVS getting cut. Here's the big name. But anything else kind of look big to you there?
Yeah, this was almost exactly what I had predicted my last 3 53-man roster projections. I do one after the first week. I do one after the second preseason game. And then my final one, I had the same 5 receivers on all 3 of those. I did not have Cody White on any of them because I thought Cody White was a guy that they could slip through waivers. They've done it 2 other times. Yeah. And so I thought he was going to be a guy that they were surely going to bring back to the practice squad. But he had that really strong preseason finale, and that might have been the clinching point for him to be one of the final guys in this roster. But there's no surprises for me here. And look, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, he was the 6th best receiver on this roster in training camp in the preseason. He was not better than Jake Bobo. He certainly was not better than Derek Young. I thought Derek Young was one of their finest players in training camp this year. And obviously, JSN and Kupp are going to be your top 2 receivers. Torrey Horton, you're hoping this ankle issue he's been dealing with. Sounds like that they're hoping he's going to be ready to practice in full next week so he can play in week 1. But he just got lapped by a bunch of these guys. So there was no surprise. Like I said earlier, I thought maybe they could find a way to trade him. But I have felt like for the last couple of weeks, especially when they played him in the preseason finale, I just felt like that was kind of John Schneider saying, hey, everybody, look, he's available. Will you give us something for him? And unfortunately, that didn't happen. But this is really exactly what I expected, other than I didn't have Cody White. I had him as one of my last couple guys out, but I'm not surprised that he is included because of his special teams value.
So was it Cody White versus Marquez Valdes-Scantling or Cody White versus another position, do you think?
I'd say another position. Okay. I think MVS, they've been trying to find a way, based on the discussions I've had with people in the building, I think they've been trying to trade him for the last week and change. So they've been working on that. It just never came together.
Turbo, anything stand out to you, wide receivers?
Every now and then you draft a guy late or you bring in an undrafted guy and you let him go. And at the time, it's the right decision because of who's on your roster
right
currently. But 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years down the road, you're like, damn it, should have kept that guy. And to me, if he puts on a couple more pounds, that guy is Ricky White out of UNLV. To me, this guy is going to be a ball player somewhere. It may not be with the Seahawks. I don't know if they're going to be able to get him back. I don't think he's going to clear waivers.
Yeah.
This is a talented dude right here. This is a talented player. Sometimes you just don't fit with some teams. You know, maybe Seattle wasn't the system that allowed him to flourish, you know, all of his capabilities. But I think he'll be back as a practice squad guy if he clears waivers. If not, he's going to be a player to look out for in the next 3 or 4 years, I'm sure.
Okay. All right. We'll keep tabs on that one for sure. Corbin, I want to follow you up with the MVS conversation because I was talking to Chris Crawford today and you actually came on our show. Right after that happened, we were chatting like, was it too obvious that Seattle was playing MVS in that third preseason game to showcase him for a trade, and then other teams caught up on that? Was like, hey, let's just wait for them to waive him because that's obviously what's going to happen. Should there have been a little more chess being played in this situation, you think?
I don't know that it really would have mattered, though,
Okay.
Anders. Like, I think when you're talking about a 30-year-old veteran and, you know, if he was like 25 or 26, you might have been able to get a team to throw a draft pick out. But look, people talk in this business, and even us reporters on the sideline, you know, there was a couple of us. This was literally a week into training camp, and I remember talking to a couple other reporters on the sideline, a couple other ones that I respect greatly, and we were just kind of talking. It's like, we were thinking then, where are they going to put this guy? Because Torrey Horton already was starting to look like he was the better player. So it's like, where does this guy fit in? And then I looked at his stats. I'm like, he hasn't played a special team snap since 2021. Like, he doesn't play special teams. Yeah. And so the writing to me was already on the wall there. People around the league know this stuff. People have personnel departments that's their job, is to look into stuff like this. So I am not at all. I don't think it would have mattered. I think Seattle was kind of hoping maybe he pops with a touchdown or something just to kind of remind people who he is. And then maybe we can get a conditional pick for him. But I don't blame them for taking the route they did. A couple of us in the sidelines at practice are like, we know what's going to happen here. They're going to play him a bunch in the preseason finale. And that ended up being exactly what they did, trying to get some value for him.
All right, let's move on to tight ends. Elijah Arroyo, AJ Barner, Nick Callerup, and Eric Sauber. Anything stand out to you, Turbo?
You know what? This is pretty much what I had. I mean, this to me, you know, honestly, Nick, how do you say his last name?
Callerup, right?
A little bit surprised at that one.
Yeah.
You know, I a little bit surprised at that one. You know, and the fact that they have 4 tight ends. Mm-hmm. But, you know, looking at it from a different perspective, it's like, you know, and I think, Corbin, you've said this before on other shows where it's like, man, the Seahawks have talked about being intentional about the run game and bringing this physical mentality, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But then it doesn't play itself out. Well, like when I look at Nick and I'm like, well, why did he make? I think that's part of it. You know, I think that just having depth at the tight end position, we're going to use 12 personnel, 13. You know, we want 2-3 tight ends in the game, you know, at a time, consistently. And because of that, you got to have a little bit more depth there. So I was a little shocked. Nick didn't really stand out to me in any practices or preseason games that I watched or attended there at VMAC. But to me, it's an indication of the direction that the Seahawks want to go offensively. And so, you know, that's where, to me, it's like, it makes sense. It was a shock, but it does make sense.
Corbin, tight ends, anything stand out?
It's the Callerup one. It takes a lot for me to be surprised by a player making a 53-man roster. And I usually feel like Like there's years where I get all but one or all the guys initially. This year, though, that was the one that was out in left field. And it's not that I don't like him. I just didn't think that was a player that I think they could get him through waivers, no problem. Just because he's not a flashy pass catching tight end, but he is a mauler. He's a big body guy.
He must have been doing some nasty stuff on the line of scrimmage, Corey. He had to be.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not saying I don't like him. Like I said, I like the way he plays. I just didn't think they were going to keep 5 tight ends on their roster, and he was going to be a guy that they retained. But as you mentioned, though, Turbo, it really is. It does speak volumes that like Seattle, and maybe they're overcorrecting. I don't think they are. I love it. I love the old school. Like we're going to get personnel here that we can punch you in the mouth. Now, I will have this caveat. This is the worst part about this entire process. And I said this on social media today. The worst part is when you think you made the 53 and then the next day, 1 or 2 guys get claimed off waivers and now we're going to have to cut you. Callerup is probably going to be that guy if I had to make a guess right now. And then the second set of waivers, you're going to feel more confident you can get into the practice squad anyway. So that's what this thought process is like for John Schneider, the coaching staff, trying to figure out how they can get the maximum number of players back on their roster and the practice squad. And there's a lot of little musical chair games going on. Yeah. I think Callerup, I'd be really surprised if he survives that next wave, assuming Seattle gets a couple of new players tomorrow off waivers.
Well, but to your point though, Corb, if I can real quick, Anders.
Yeah, I know.
I think that that shows like how a team feels about a player. And where they may be positioned in terms of like for Callerup, it's like, okay, Seahawks, they're like, okay, we're gonna make sure he makes the 53 because if we don't, we're gonna lose him. We don't want to lose him.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So let's make sure he makes the 53, and then on the second wave we can get him back and make sure we have him for our practice squad or whatever the case may be. Like I think sometimes that may be the strategy. Like we talk about a guy like Cody White at wide receiver, right? That's his name.
Yep.
Yep.
It might be, it might be a similar thing where it's just like, let's make sure we got him on a team. If something happens right after, that scope of players is just a little bit more thin. It's different. The second wave, we may have a better chance of bringing them back.
Yeah, and everyone has already kind of made their claims on other players, so you'll have a better chance to kind of after you kind of add a couple.
It really is musical chairs, Anders, and you just gotta hope. You gotta hope that you sit in the right seat every time.
No doubt.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. Let's look at the offensive line here. Anthony Bradford, Bryce Gilbledew, Charles Cross, Josh Jones, Abe Lucas, Olu, Mason Richmond, Jalen Sundell, and Gray Zabel. 9. Are we surprised about the number there, Corbin Smith?
No, I had 9 making the roster, but there were some wrinkles that were thrown into this. You never know what John Schneider is going to cook up when it comes to trades. And then from my understanding, Mike Jarrell, a lot of people, when they see a player get traded like this, they think, oh, that means that they were just going to get cut. My understanding is that they still very much were interested in keeping Mike Jarrell on this roster. But when Atlanta came at him, and I know a conditional 7th, it doesn't seem like that's much, but Atlanta came out quickly, said, hey, look, we need tackle depth. They just lost Caleb McGarry for the season. Seattle felt comfortable with Josh Jones. Josh Jones is their number 3 guy, and they think Mason Richmond's going to be a good one that can play multiple spots in the offensive line. They felt like they had enough pieces there, and Jarrell was drafted by a different offensive coaching staff for a different system. Stars aligned, they make that trade quick. So that's really the only big difference here with the way Seattle handled this. Christian Haynes, I predicted, was going to go in IR, so that does not surprise me at all. And Cabledew and Richmond, they're 2 rookies. They're 2 draft picks. They keep those guys and don't risk losing them. Clearly, that was important to the Seahawks here in that final cut down, making sure that they did not risk losing either one of those players that John Benton believes he can coach up and develop into starter caliber players in time.
Turbo, O-line, how does it look?
Looks good. To me, this is pretty much what I thought the Seahawks would do. 9 guys at the offensive line. You got good depth there. Personally, like if I was a GM, I'd like to have 10 because I just feel like, I don't know, the even number to me is like 2 at each position. It just makes sense to me in my mind from a math standpoint. But this is, and Corbin hit the nail on the head in terms of the rookies. You want to be able to have guys that you can develop and be a part of your culture and your system, for a number of years. Hopefully they don't have to play, in year one, but if they do, they're trained and they're ready to go. So wouldn't surprise me though to see the Seahawks make a move though to try to maybe upgrade their offensive line, especially in the interior. But right now,
that's where Reisner fits in.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Quickly, for people that are wondering, couldn't you get more from Terrell than just a 7th round pick because they lost their Caleb McGarry for the season?
Not really.
No. Not like, especially just the player that Terrell is. Look, I liked him when they drafted him too, but he hasn't developed in anything more, and he was a 7th round pick. So, yeah. I mean, that's just kind of what he is at this point. Yeah. Plus, if you're looking at this close to cut down day, to me, it's like I don't know if he would have made the roster. Corbin says he would have probably. So I'll kind of lean towards him on that. He knows more than me, but it sounds like more of a situation where Atlanta was like, hey, even if you do drop him, we want to make sure we're the team that gets him because we need tackles. So we'll throw in a 7th round pick for that. I mean, it's
tough to get anything above a 5th round pick for players. I mean, what did Brian Robinson go to the 49ers for? Was it a 5th round pick? It was a 6th. Brian Robinson Jr.
Yeah.
That's the point. You're not going to, that's why I was saying MVS, it's hard to trade guys. Like, it really is.
6th round pick for Brian Robinson Jr. So that's just kind of what it is now.
Turbo's going to laugh at this because when the 49ers got Sky Moore, I was like, they got that return for him. And a lot of people are like, dude, it was a 6-7 pick swap. Like, what do you mean that kind of return? I'm like, the guy hasn't caught a pass for 2 years.
And that's what the MVS situation's like. If Sky Moore can get something, how can MVS not? Like,
exactly. That was the point I was trying to make. Like, it's so hard to move guys in August.
Well, I'll tell you the difference. Sky Moore is a Super Bowl champion. Like it or not.
6 years younger?
6 years younger, too. He's a Super Bowl champion, and he's 6 years younger. But the fact that he's been a part of a championship team, whether he was impactful or not, makes a difference.
Yeah. All right. Well, that goes through the offense. We'll take a quick break, get the defense on the other side. You're still listening to the Seahawks Squad show here on Locked On Seahawks. Really appreciate everyone hanging out. If you haven't liked the video, please, does us a huge favor, kind of gets us defeating the YouTube algorithm, so to speak. So continue to help us do that. Really appreciate it. Yeah, please do it. It's really easy. You don't have to do anything, but just hit that like button. So, all right. Well, yeah. It's a thumbs up, heart, whatever you need. Yeah.
Is it a thumbs up? My bad.
I think it's a thumbs up on YouTube. But yeah, it's good. It's the same.
I'm thinking about Instagram.
The same thing.
That lets you know how much I'm on YouTube. It's a lot. Okay, but my kids, they earn it every day. All day.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Well, if you are on it all day, every day, better check out some more Locked On Seahawks because Corbin has some more content coming up after the show as well. So be sure to check that out if you want more. We'll be back right after this break to break down the defensive side of the ball. We have an important request. Locked On wants to hear from you. We've put together a survey to learn more about our listeners and make our favorite podcasts even better. Make your favorite podcasts even better. This is your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't, and answer questions about our advertising. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey to get started. Everyone who completes a survey will be entered for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. Again, that's lockedonpodcast.com/survey. If you can find the link in the show notes, thanks for helping us out. It's August 26th, and it's officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week one even kicks off, this is your moment. I've said it multiple times before. I'll say it again. I'm picking Joe Burrow for the MVP this year. I think he gets over the hump in terms of that MVP race. And I believe in what Cincy's doing offensively. And I think it all kind of comes together here, especially with re-signing Trey Hendrickson. Kind of seems like hey, we're going for it one more year before we figure things out. So Joe Burrow is my MVP pick. Please, if you're into that kind of stuff, today's the day. It's FanDuel Futures Day. Visit the app today and start planning your futures bets now, because FanDuel's Futures Day is 1 day and 1 day only. So you only have a few hours left. FanDuel, play your game. All right, welcome back to the Seahawks Squad Show. Anderson Hirst, Corbin Smith, and Robert Turbin with you. We're going to break down the entire Seahawks roster in the initial 53-man that is put out by the Seattle Seahawks. Let me see if I can figure out how to share my screen once again. I think I can. Boom, boom, ba-doom. And then we go here, and then we go here. Sweet. All right. Move to the defensive side of the ball. All right.
Whoa, that's a lot of linebackers.
It is a lot of linebackers. How many of them are actually linebackers?
That's
right.
I got Jared Ivey listed as a linebacker, and I'm like, Jared Ivey's played more in the A gap than he has off ball. Like,
that's funny. Okay. Let's go through them, how they list them. I'm not going to try and, tell Seahawks how to do their thing, but we got Derek Hall, Jared Ivey, Ernest Jones, Tyrese Knight, Boye Mafe, Chenna Nwosu, Connor O'Toole, and Drake Thomas. Corbin, you want to help me split up who kind of fits more into the edge rusher side of things versus the off-ball linebacker?
So you've really got three different positions that are here.
Okay.
You've got traditional defensive ends. You've got the hybrid outside linebackers. That would be your Derek Hall, Boye Mafe, Uchenna Nwosu, Connor O'Toole. And then the off-ball is Ernest Jones, Tyrese Knight, and Drake Thomas. So, like, Jared Ivey, they're listing him there because he can play off the edge. And I think that's one of the reasons that he had to be on this roster. Like,
right.
Jared Ivey can play in a 2-point stance. He can go down and play three tech, and he can get both hands in the dirt, 4-point stance, and play nose tackle for you if you want him to. Like, the guy just plays all over the place, and he's effective wherever you put him at. So he's another one of those guys you could put in that all-encompassing position because he can do a little bit of everything on defense. And so, yeah, they're listing them all as linebackers, but these guys all play different positions in this defense. And there's really, like I said, there's three different sectors there. The only one I'm a little worried about here is the off-ball linebacker depth that they have behind Ernest Jones and Tyrese Knight.
Yep. And that's exactly why we were looking at a couple pieces earlier. Turbo, anything stand out to you in the linebacker section?
Nah, nothing stands out. I think the guys that made the team on this list are the guys that you expected. I'm looking at the list of guys that got cut at linebacker and defensive end, since they want to add that to the linebacker list.
Why don't they separate them? Like, come on.
I don't know. Lazy.
It's Mike McDonald's system. Something like Jared Ivey will play some outside, so like they can get away with it. You're like, so
I think it's laziness.
They also don't want to show, hey, we only have 3 off-ball linebackers on the roster.
I think that could be a big
really
part
is.
of it. This is
That's
logistics.
what it really is. No, but these guys are the guys that I feel like would make the team. I'm looking at the guys that got cut at the same positions. Just not surprised, not surprised. I'm really interested in Drake Thomas. He wasn't a guy that like flashed, to me during this training camp and preseason, but he made the team, and that's a good sign. And, I'm sure they'll be looking to add more depth at the inside linebacker position for sure. But this is what was to be expected there.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much set with the linebackers. Hopefully you get a couple more just in terms of depth pieces, see if there's something out there in terms of waivers or even a trade of some sort. Let's look at D-line. DeMarcus Lawrence, Mike Morris, Byron Murphy, Jaron Reed, and Leonard Williams. Seems pretty standard to me. Anyone missed the cut that you guys thought might have had a chance?
Well, it was the nose tackles because, again, like there's no offense to Byron Murphy and to Jaron Reed and those guys. Like they're big guys, but like they don't have any beef. Like at this point, like they're going to have to be calling up Austin Powers and seeing if he can get the fat guy on the phone. Like, you dig the money, I'll dig the baby.
Let me ask you this, Corb. Are they focused on being? Correct me if I'm wrong, but are they focused on being a 3-down front this season?
Well, I would think that they're going to need they're going to especially because Jonathan Hankins is staying on the non-football injury list. Like he's not going to be available the first 4 weeks. Like You have got to have – they do not have a guy on their roster right now, Turbo, that's over 310 pounds on that defensive line. Like, and it may just very well be, hey, we can get Brandon Peely and Quentin Bohanna on our practice squad and we can just elevate one of those guys. Like, they may very well feel like that's all they have to do. But that was the most surprising thing to me in terms of guys that didn't make the roster, that they didn't keep one of those guys, because they are pretty darn light in the middle there. I don't think you want to have to play Byron Murphy that many snaps at nose tackle, because that's reducing the effectiveness that he can bring your defense as a pass rusher, playing the 3-tech position. So I don't know. We'll see what they do. I would be stunned if one of those guys they cut today is not returning in some capacity, if not both of them. But that's the biggest thing to me, is there's no beef here. There's no big boys, and you got to have at least one of those players in the NFC West.
Yeah. Turbo, anything stand out to you?
No, I agree with Corbin. No, he's right about that. I think he hit a great point in terms of just, if you're going to have a guy that play nose tackle or even a consistent one technique, like we had Brandon Mebane for years, and he's just a freaking, I mean, come on, he was. The thing that pissed me off about Brandon Mebane is he would tell me before the snap where the run was going. Stop doing that. Then he told me finally he told me in the locker room, he's like, Turb, I know where the run is going because you always put one foot a little bit in front of the other one. It's like, so when you're going left, it's like your left foot is a little bit in front of the right.
That's what NFL players
why didn't you tell me that weeks ago? You've been cheating the whole time.
You didn't want to let up the secret?
Gosh.
That's funny.
But I think Corbin's right. You got to have you got to have some beef in there, man. These guys are going to play one technique consistently. I think Jaron Reed can be very, impactful, but I also think he's better as a 3, than he is a one technique, over the guards instead of over the center.
And you can say the same thing about Byron Murphy too.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So, it'll be interesting to see like what adjustment maybe Mike McDonald makes from a scheme standpoint. Go ahead, McCorp.
Yeah, I want to throw this out here because, look, we've talked about this a lot on Locked On Seahawks dating back to like April. The Dallas Cowboys, we keep having to bring them up. Like, I'm thinking, why can't we do a Micah Parsons and Mozzie Smith trade? Like, bring them both over. Like, if Dallas is that upset with Mozzie Smith, like, Mike McDonald coached him at Michigan, and he was an absolute monster at Michigan for him. Like, get him for peanuts on the dollar, and then maybe you can ratchet up what you give them for Micah Parsons as part of that. But, like, or if you just want to buy him separately, like, hey, we'll give you a 6th. Like, if Dallas is that frustrated with Mozzie Smith, like, we'll take him off your hands. That is one of those guys I say we can fix him because Mike McDonald knows how to get the most out of this guy. So maybe that's something that's going on behind the scenes right now.
Ooh.
John Schneider, you got GM Corbin Smith. You need to hire him as an assistant.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's like 2 steps ahead of the game.
First round pick if you're trying to get Mike.
He's probably already talked to him. Let's be honest. Like that's John.
All right, let's move on to safeties. D'Anthony Bell, Kobe Bryant, Nick Eamon, Julian Love, Ty Cota. Pretty standard here, I feel like.
This is chalk. This was this position, cornerback and quarterback were the 3 position groups that were really chalk because I had Okada making it on my last projection that I had. Look, I don't want to say one play can get you on a team, but like that interception that he had the other day was just ridiculous. And the tackle he had on Josh Jacobs, 2 plays before that, like that showed you who he is. And like our buddy Chris Crawford was on here last week. He really is the defensive version of Jake Bobo. Like this guy is a glue guy. His teammates love him. His coaches love him. Like Mike McDonald was picking him to play over Jarek Reed in the second half last year, even after Reed came back healthy.
Now
Mike McDonald trusts him, and the special teams coaches trust him. So this is their deepest position group in the entire roster. So why not take advantage of that and keep 5 of these players?
Turbo.
Yeah, definitely the best group on the team. I mean, you look at the corners and the safeties, our DBs, man, locked in. You mentioned Jarek Reed, and to me, it's just like an indication of like Jarek Reed to me is the perfect example of what training camp is all about.
Yeah.
You get injured, you come back, you're a guy, But at any moment, you get beat out by anybody. And all it comes down to is just making plays or making a play that could just be the difference. And, I think that was the difference for Jarek Reed. I think we all, the good kid, good player, good fit for the team, but he got beat out. He got beat out this year. And so the guys that made the team, to me, pretty status quo. Status quo. That's our strongest unit. The combination of cornerbacks and safeties. Yeah. I would say really on this entire team.
Okay. So let's do that. Let's go to corners. Shaquille Griffin makes the team. Josh Jobe, Nehemiah Pritchett, Devin Witherspoon, and Rick Wallen.
Yeah, this is as talk as it gets, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and that's deep, man. Those are 6 starters.
I didn't know about Shaquille Griffin though. Even though he's a good player, but obviously, you're a veteran. You got cut a couple times. Right. He made the team, man. He made the team. So that's good on him. I don't want to say it was like a shocker, but it was just like, hey, he came in as a veteran player, kind of been around the block now. He made the team, man. He made the team. It's good. That's good. That's good for him, and I think it's good for the team.
Yeah, what's interesting to me about that, Turbo, I had Shaquille Griffin as my last one in from this group because I thought Nehemiah Pritchett took a big step this August. I think he looks like a totally different player than he did as a rookie. He's playing with more confidence. He's making plays on the football, and he's a legit 4-3 guy. He's got wheels. So you want to have guys like that you can keep developing with the traits that he has. But Shaquille Griffin missed all that time for personal reasons, but since he's come back, I know he gave up a touchdown in the preseason game against Green Bay, but he's had some really good practices. He has started a ton of games. He's a really good locker room guy. They were not going to get rid of him unless somebody just absolutely emerged. Like if Jamarian Williams would have been better and taken the job, then so be it. But none of the other corners took that opportunity and seized it. So to me, again, this is a position that just felt like these 5, that wasn't one that I even had to think much about in terms of who's going to be making the roster.
And honestly, it was a surprise that he was let go in the first place.
Yeah.
All those years ago, to me.
Was that 2020? I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, that was 2020 was his last year. Yeah.
Yeah. I was, maybe because he wasn't making the plays. He was getting beat on some plays or whatever. But he's never played better in his career than when he was a Seahawk. Yeah. In my opinion. So it's nice to see him back.
Do you think this scheme fits him, Corbin?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, he plays with enough physicality and he comes up and he makes tackles and he can press. I mean, he does all the things Mike McDonald wants. He's not going to have to play much if Josh Jobe keeps doing what he's been doing. But, I mean, it gives you great depth. I mean, you got a Pro Bowler as your number 4 or number 5 cornerback. And Shaquille will play special teams if he needs to. Yeah. He's a selfless guy. He'll play whatever he needs to get in the field. He just enjoys the game. So I wasn't surprised. Like I said, I had him on all my projections making it, even with the fact he missed such a large chunk of training camp.
Seems like a good locker room guy, too. A lot of people seem to gravitate towards him.
He's a mature player, man. Yeah. He's a mature player. He's a leader. He's got really great stuff going on off the field with his brother Shaquem. And like he's the type of player you want in your locker room, really.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. And then specialists, Michael Dixon, Jason Myers, and Chris Stoll.
I'm just glad there's nobody else on there for long snapper because that tells me the Seahawks are feeling good about Chris Stoll's back because that was really the question mark there. And, of course, they can get another long snapper on the practice squad if they need to, or just let Brady Russell do it. Like I said, Brady Russell can do everything. And look, we have video proof of it. He was long snapping during the mock scrimmage that they had, that the Seahawks fest that they call it now. He was snapping that night, and they looked really crisp, and they were accurate.
They called the mock game the Seahawks fest?
Yeah, it's no longer really a game. They've changed it to it's more of a practice that's just got situational scrimmaging in it. So now they call it Seahawks Fest. But he was snapping that night. And I had video.
Involve a lot of food. I feel like. Is there a lot of food?
Well, they've definitely got food there, but it does sound like it sounds more like you'd expect like food trucks on the field.
Yeah, It's so true.
Nice.
Like kind of like an event sort of thing. No,
Yeah.
just regarding the specialists, I love you, Michael Dixon, but please don't be our best player again this year. I can't do another like Michael Dixon's the best player on the team. Come on.
Yeah, and following that too, it's like, look, the only thing I had to say about the specialists is come on, Myers. Hey, let's go, bro. Like, we need it. 3, it's gotta be, we gotta feel like it's automatic. Because I didn't feel like that last year. I'm gonna tell you guys, I'm gonna be real.
Yeah.
Myers went out there for 3, and I'm like, who knows? He might hook this one.
Yeah.
Come on now.
It's an odd year too. He's got his career numbers on odd years are much worse than even years. So
I'm telling you, man. So
does that change when the year turns?
I'm looking this up again for you guys because I think he actually might have broken that curse in 2023. But like, I'm looking at his numbers. So his field goal percentages: 2019, 82%, 2021, 73.9%. 2023, he still was only 83.3. So every odd year, he has been significantly worse than even years.
That's horrible, bro. I'm sorry, bro. You got to be in the 90s. You're a kicker in the NFL, you got to be in the 90s, bro. You got to be in the 90s. He has not had an odd year
with better than an 83% field goal rate since his rookie season, 2015.
Jason?
Yep.
Whoo. Maybe I need to go look at some numbers from some other kickers.
Well, like what's like a top 10 kicker? It's
got to be like 93. Like, what's the dude in Pittsburgh? He's my favorite kicker.
Chris Boswell.
Automatic.
He is an automatic.
That boy automatic. What's his numbers?
Oh man. All I know is that Jason Myers on even years, he's got a year he was 100%. He's got a year he was 97%. Like, he's been a totally different dude on even years. Odd years, like, I don't know what happens. Like, he just forgets how to kick half the time. I don't know what happens. It is so weird. But like Chris Boswell, yeah. He had it 2022, he only made 71%, but he's above 90% in 5 of the last 6 years. So that was just an odd year.
90%, baby.
Yeah.
Automatic. We need it, Jason. We need it.
Turbo ready to lace it up, kick some field goals. Let's go. Come on.
I'm ready to eat this burrito that I got in my hand right now.
Oh, man, you guys are great. Really appreciate it. Any last words before we get out of here? We did a whole full-on roster breakdown for the 53-man. Anything in general that you guys didn't get to? Corbin, I'll start with you while Turbo's eating.
I'll just leave a closing thought. Jadeveon Clowney is still going to be a Seattle Seahawk. Today does not stop that. You can release Connor O'Toole second time around. I still think Clowney is back in Seattle. That is my prediction.
All right, Turbo.
Let's go, baby. I'm ready to play the games.
I'm
just ready for the game.
I am too.
We got the Niners week 1, right?
Yes, we do.
Man, come on. There's nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
Let's play.
Yeah. Well,
hey, K9, where you at? Come on, baby. Let's go. I'm going to text you.
Yeah, he will. He'll text you. Friend of the show, I guess. I'm going to call it that.
Come on. They doubting you, bro. Let's go.
Turbo's ready to roll. I love it. I am too. Like, let's get the regular season, man. We'll talk to you guys later this week on Thursday. We'll have kind of a more preview episode for the full season as we gear up for week 1 against the 49ers. Just over a week away. Cannot wait. Thank you guys so much for being a part of the Seahawks Squad show today. Corbin, Turbo, appreciate you guys. We'll talk to you guys on Thursday. Have a good one. Go Hawks.